Good morning and welcome to the Haven Financial Group radio show. I'm Larry Colvig, founder and CEO of the Haven Financial Group. Thanks for listening to us this morning. Give us a call if you have any questions, worries, concerns, retirement issues. 612-504-8400 or visit us at havenfinancialgroup.com. Good to be with you again, Kim. Again, retirement, it looms. We're just coming off Thanksgiving, so I hope everybody had a great family time because we certainly did. And now is the holiday season. Here we go.
I know. Here we are right smack dab in the middle of it. Of course, some snow on the ground already, which is a little hard to take this early in December, but I guess it could be worse. That's for sure. But as we draw really the holiday season, as it pertains, I think, Larry, to retirement, is that we're drawing to the end of the year. And there might be some things that people want to try to keep in mind before we hit 2026. So let's take a look at what we're talking about here today. And again, the title of today's show is Cover Your Retirement Bases This Holiday Season. We're going to start with end of the year retirement housekeeping. As I mentioned, as we draw to the end of the year, there's some things and some dates that maybe you need to keep in mind. Retirement account contribution checkup. We'll also talk about a tax planning checklist for the end of the year going into next year. And then don't forget your estate planning checklist as well. Larry, this is kind of an important time for those who are in retirement or those who are getting ready to retire, maybe in 2026.
Yeah, and I certainly understand, as the holidays approach, the last thing in your mind you're probably wanting to think about is retirement financial planning. Probably not what you want to talk about, but it's probably more like, family, football, what presents to get for your friends and, and who you're going to get them for, the New Year's. Planning all that is a lot more fun, but there is some critical deadlines and time frames that we don't want to miss because costly mistakes, retirement mistakes, that's what we're trying to avoid. And that's going to be a lot of ideas we're going to talk about in today's show.
Sure. Let's get started talking about some of the housekeeping that you might want to think about if you're a retiree or if you're someone who is planning retirement in the near future. And let's start with your strategy associated with Social Security. This is a great time as you approach your mid-60s maybe to start thinking about when is the best time to draw your Social Security if you haven't started? And is it best if you draw it, or is it better if maybe your spouse draws it first?
Yeah, it's why we've taught for years now Social Security and tax classes and why they're very well attended, because it is a critical decision as far as when you take it. In fact, there's a study done recently that the average American gives up about $182,000 in their lifetime by claiming Social Security at the wrong time. Social Security for an individual or a married couple is a very big number. And many times people take it lightly and just turn it on. They worry more about their portfolio. And for many, the Social Security amount that you're going to receive in a normal life expectancy is going to be more than your portfolio put together. For a married couple, we oftentimes see it over $1 million is what you're going to claim as a couple in your lifetime. So it is a critical decision. It is a big decision. Do you take it at 62, which 70% of Americans do? And that's a high number, probably way higher than it should be. Or are you the 1% to 2% of Americans that wait till age 70? So when is the best time? When folks come to these events and they come in, we'll run a Maximize Social Security report, a good, better, best roadmap for when they should take it. For oftentimes, you said it very eloquently, for a married couple, sometimes the younger breadwinner will turn it on earlier and the higher breadwinner wait as long as possible. And that the longest possible is 70 because it doesn't grow past that. I will tell you there's a lot of psychology. It's tough to get to 70 for a lot of people when your friends are claiming at 64 or 63 or 65 and you're waiting thinking, wow, it sure would be nice. It has to make sense. And that's why we help a lot of people in that decision-making process. Our goal, our job isn't to steer anybody in a different direction than when it makes sense. And oftentimes, you're just trying to make us wait. It makes no difference to us when you take it. What makes a difference to us is that you're claiming it at the right time And that's where people make costly mistakes.
Absolutely. Here at the end of the year, this is a great time to start thinking about, especially if you're like someone who is still working and maybe you plan to work for the next couple of years. You want to maximize those retirement contributions, and now is the time to consider Roth conversions.
Boy, these are the discussions that we're having and have since the start of the first quarter. A lot of these discussions. You mentioned maxing out those retirement contributions. And I'm not referring to necessarily the 401k yet. We'll get there. This is outside of those employer plans. Mm-hmm. You're making sure that you're contributing that $7,000 up to $7,000 if you're younger than 50, and then the $8,000 because over 50 you have a catch-up provision. You know, over time, compounding interest on that money, we really want to take advantage of it. It certainly may reduce your tax liability, so there's tax reasons why we're going to do it. And then I say fourth quarter, these are the times we're having Roth conversion discussions. I bet you this last week, we probably did a good 25 to 30 client Roth conversions just this week. Many of those folks would have probably missed that opportunity had we not had a conversation that we planted that seed quite a while ago. They just know that fourth quarter, we're going to be talking to Haven and Larry and the team. Does it make sense? What does our current year income look like? Is there wiggle room in that 12% tax bracket? Utilizing low tax brackets now rather than higher tax brackets in the future. It's critical that this tax planning discussion happen. And you have that by planning throughout the year. And guess what? It leads to successful tax preparation come April. Avoiding the surprises like, oh my goodness, every year I owe money, every year I owe money. Well, guess what? We can plan out what that conversation is going to look like come tax time. There doesn't have to be the same surprises that you don't like every single year.
Sure, absolutely. This is a great time of year to review all your investments and your income stream.
Yeah. This should be ongoing throughout the course of the year.
Sure.
You know, people ask, how many times can we come in to Haven? As many times as you want to. And I truly mean that. Now, for some people, that's an annual review. Some it's a quarter review. You got to remember at Haven, we do all the retirement stuff, not just investments, but the Medicare and all the stuff that you and I talk about throughout the year. But on the investments, we want to review it at least once or twice a year at minimum on the investments, stress testing that portfolio to avoid some of the stress that comes with the volatile stock market. Are you in the right place at this season of life? Are you taking enough risk or way too much risk, which a lot of people are? And what are those income streams? What are they now? Are you on the cusp of retirement? I think of a client from Lakeville that they're going to be retiring at the end of the year. What is it we're looking at? What does it look like this year? And then we already have done advanced planning for income for next year because they need to generate monthly income in the most tax efficient way possible. And we've already started that conversation.
That's fantastic. Here at the end of the year, again, you're celebrating the holidays, but maybe you need to take just a day or two and go through the checklist here, some of the housekeeping associated with your retirement. You'll be glad you did. And one of those things is checking on those estate planning documents. Now, you talk about this a lot, Larry. People need to make sure that their beneficiaries are up to date, that all of those documents are, in the places that people and their loved ones know they're supposed to be.
Yeah, it's another class we're teaching, wills and trusts and legacy planning. We do that with our good friends, Provision Law, Carrie and Keith. We just had one this past week in Lakeville at the Lakeville Library. We were at capacity. We had a waiting list. We have another one coming up there, which we also have a waiting list. People want the education in a variety of retirement areas, and estate planning is certainly one of them. And that's why it was full. Do I need a trust? Do I have adequate documents? Do I have powers of attorney? You mentioned the simplistic way, the beneficiaries. You can't believe how many times I see outdated beneficiaries, ex-spouses, no beneficiaries. That's a headache waiting to happen. And that's something you want to avoid because that could cause probate. That could cause the transfer of assets after you pass to not go the way you want to. It can cause so many problems, maybe not for you if you're not here, but for your family members, for your kids. And estate planning it is done for you and your spouse, but it is also done for your heirs and your loved ones and those charities that you really, really care about. That's why we do it. And there comes a peace of mind to know, wow, we finally got it done. We've been talking about it for 20, 30 years, and we finally got it done.
Absolutely. We're going to talk more about estate planning coming up a little later in the show. I guess really what the point of this whole conversation is, have you thought about some of these things? Because if you haven't, that's okay. But this is the time of the year that it's really great to sit down and, as we've referred to it, end of year retirement housekeeping. And if you need a partner to help walk through some of the things that you've just heard us talk about, and there are many others like evaluating your housing options, maybe you want to think about that, or again, staying up to date on all the tax laws that are coming up the next year, then give the folks at Haven Financial Group a call. That is how you get an appointment with them to sit down and to talk through some of these things. The number is 612-504-8400. Tell them that you heard us here on the radio. You'd like to come in. You'd like to sit down. You're interested in making an appointment to talk about end-of-year retirement housekeeping and everything. Retirement and retirement planning. Again, that number is 612-504-8400. Up next, we're going to talk about retirement account contributions and making sure that you're checking on whether you're getting those done by the end of the year. This is the Haven Financial Group Radio Show.